Stay tuned because next up is David Charles Allen, host of The Hop, that's Home Ownership Podcast, here to let us know what's happening with real estate in Santa Barbara.
Welcome to The Hop. David Charles Allen, realtor at Village Properties in Santa Barbara. Doing great today, Patty. How you doing?
I'm doing great too, David. Thank you.
Good to hear. We had a couple of really hot days this past week. Weather's come back to normal Santa Barbara in between the 60s and 70s with some sun out, and it's really beautiful. Not too much surf to report. A couple slow days. Maybe we'll get some wind swell coming up. So it'll be nice just to enjoy the Santa Barbara weather.
60s and 70s, that's just beautiful. I know you said last week it was close to 90, and that's pretty darn hot, especially since a lot of people in Santa Barbara don't have air conditioning.
I think it even got up to 95 and 100 in some areas too.
Oh, so my goodness.
A nice wave that came through.
That's hot. Yeah.
In terms of how interest rates are performed, we're at 4.75 for 30-year fixed conforming and 4% for 30-year jumbo. So again, slight upticks for the conforming space. Not much movement on the jumbo space, but they are creeping up. That's not to say the least.
They certainly are creeping up because I remember it was down in the twos not that long ago.
Everything came really quickly. Rates have been rising. Everyone thought we're just going to have these low rates for so long. And now that the rates are going up, some people are freaking out, which is causing even more demand and causing prices to go even higher. So you think if the interest rates are going up, less people are going to buy because they can't afford it. At this time, that doesn't seem to be happening. It seems everything will catch up with itself in time. You just don't know when that's going to be.
Right, because you have that reverse thought that people are wanting to get their house bought before it rises even more.
Yeah, and if you look at why some people have this either patient aspect to it or more need to get in now, we all were pretty recently happened to have the recession in 2007, 2008, where the market kind of imploded. And it's really been one of the only times in history where we saw great depreciation on your home. Most history, it's small appreciation on a home each year, and it's pretty consistent. At that time, it was just huge appreciation at one time. And a lot of people don't look at it like that too. While we may not see the appreciation we've gotten these last couple of years, which is 10, 20, 50%, even 100% in some areas in just a couple of years, that appreciation rate might slow back down to typical 5, 10% a year. But who knows if it's going to cause a depreciation like it did in 2007, 2008, where people think the price of a home is going to drop in half. So that'd be hard to see. Who knows?
Right. And didn't they blame a lot of that on the banks giving loans to people that really couldn't qualify or shouldn't have qualified?
In a sense, that's the simplified way of saying it. And people can over leverage themselves as well. So maybe you are in the business of buying homes and turning them into rentals. And for some reason, the rental market really slows down and you have all these rentals that you can't afford. It depends how leveraged people are too. And that's always the case, which can cause concern.
Right. I can see that would be a risky business.
Again, we're going back to if anything were to happen, like some people think it may, is it going to be a really sharp depreciation like we saw in 2007, 2008, or is it a slower appreciation? So that's what has people freaking out. They think it's going to go back to just a slower appreciation. So there's no point in waiting it out if prices are going to stay relatively the same and maybe a smaller correction. It's really hard to predict. And even if I was buying a home right now, it's hard to really know what to do.
Right. I can understand how confusing that would be. So many different opinions.
I think it just goes back to focusing on what matters most to you. If you can afford something and you're happy doing that, you just got to make the move to go do it and not worry about the rest because that's just something you can't control.
Right. So, David, what did the stats do this week?
So 43 new listings, 4 price changes, 31 that closed, 27 that went pending, 0 expired, and 7 coming soon. So great that we have 43 new listings. Looking at it, only 4 closed off market too. So that's great that we had 39 essentially new listings with 27 going pending. That means we have about 10 or so that added to the supply. So again, not a huge number, but at least it's something.
Yeah.
Any questions of the day for me?
Yes, David. So I've been thinking a lot about the stiff competition that realtors are facing just in general, realtors and brokers. I remember last week there were only 30 some new listings, and I think you said there were a couple thousand realtors in Santa Barbara. That's huge. I just wonder how you deal with that competition. How does a realtor stand out, number one? And two, a lot of people think being a realtor is an easy job, but I can see that it's really not. And what do you want people, clients, anyone who's working with a realtor to know? So it's twofold. How do you stand out, and what do you want people to know about the job?
I think the hardest thing to do is connect with people that are interested in buying and be their first point of contact. It's always difficult to get leads and find people that actually want to purchase and then qualify them. And they'll say they're interested, but usually they know somebody or know 5 or 10 different people. The most important thing in standing out is gaining someone's level of trust, being knowledgeable and competent enough to understand what they're going through and be able to work with them and not necessarily for them, because you're a huge part of the process. In this market, it's a lot of mental work you have to do, just preparing yourself and knowing what you're about to go into and being trustworthy and telling them like it is and not fluffing it up too much. I think that's how you stand out. And in terms of getting contacts is probably the hardest part, is being able to find people that are able to purchase in certain price ranges and stuff like that. So people pay big money for leads and advertising just to get those people to contact you. And then once they contact you, you still have to be capable to hold on to them and gain their trust, because they could be calling someone else as well. So it's very difficult in that regard to gain someone's trust with someone you just meet. So you really have to have a process that they understand. And it goes back to, you just got to click with the other person. If it's not a mutual thing where you guys don't see eye to eye, it's probably best if you either refer them to somebody else you think they might work better with, or you just don't spend your time, because it's not going to turn out well.
Yeah, I love your honesty, David. And if somebody is listening and they haven't found their realtor yet, but they'd like to talk to you, how would they get hold of you?
Yep, my number is 805-617-9311. My email is david@davidcharlesallen.com. In terms of it not being easy, another part of that too is it's really difficult getting your offer accepted because you have so much competition. And to be able to mentally prepare somebody for paying $500,000 over the asking price, it takes a lot of work for them to get over that hurdle in their own mind. So you can't really be the one convincing them. You have to either show them this is just how it is, and you got to talk them through, kind of like what I was saying. Is it worth it to you to wake up every day in this home and not care so much about how much you're paying for it, because you can still afford it either way, and not worrying about what may happen, because you're going to have the present moment to live in that and enjoy it, and you can't really control anything else. So again, it's a mental thing. It's all about psychology and people. It's interesting to see the responses, how everything plays together.
Yeah, that makes sense, David. Thank you for that explanation. How are the puppies at home? Those fur babies, how's everybody doing? And the kitty cat. Didn't mean to leave the mango out.
Everyone's doing really great. Sarah, my girl, was cat sitting actually for a couple days. So we had a third cat. It was the cutest cat, but it was very hot and cold. Like, it was a female cat. So I don't know if it's just all female cats, because we have male cats. But one moment it'd be like loving on you and just like want to be pet. And then the next moment you go up to it and it just starts hissing at you and tries to snap you. And it's just like, you didn't do anything different. It's just like this cat was very hot and cold. But
oh, that's interesting. I haven't been around cats that much to know if that's typical cat behavior. I really couldn't tell you.
Yeah, so it's quite funny. And then you go away for a second, you come back and it's all loving on you again. And you're just like, what is going on?
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Those animals of ours, they love us so much. I just read an article about all the ways they show that they love us, from gazing at us to licking and jumping, smiling, so many things, wagging their tail. But I wondered, since you have so many in your household, Do they get territorial over you and want to be the one that's sitting next to you or Sarah?
I would say they do sometimes. They definitely get jealous. I feel like they definitely, if you're giving one attention, the other one's like, oh, I want attention too. So again, over toys too, they're always like a little territorial.
Right.
Not like obsessive, angry, but they just want their stuff. So, and
yeah,
they definitely always want to be around you. And if you're giving too much love to one of them, they'll definitely come and try and scoot in there and be like, hey, I want some too. So it's cute.
They're funny. They're just like kids for sure.
They are.
Oh, well, David, this was a really interesting show. I'm encouraged about the real estate market actually in Santa Barbara. It sounds like there are more houses for sale. It's going the right direction. Interest rates are going up, but it's not stopping people from wanting to buy. So it's looking good.
Yeah, it's looking good.
Thank you so much. You have a great week. Thanks for joining us. All right.
Next week. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.